We may be seeing the dying days of Ubisoft. Now, admittedly, that statement is still tainted with a degree of hyperbole, as Ubisoft is by no means a pauper just yet, but oh boy, it has been plagued with a long and ragged line of absolute failures that has seen a 10% drop in stock prices just today, and if we look at the long-term history of the company, oh boy. Oh boy, indeed. An 83% drop over the last 5 years, showing that it's simply just been downhill pretty much since forever. Yeah, Ubisoft is not doing very well at all, and is in essence kept afloat by a single title, that being Rainbow Six Siege. Whereas other attempts, well, the new Prince of Persia, the new diverse Prince of Persia, was not received with the applause that the developers apparently anticipated. And then there's Star Wars Outlaws, which, oh boy, I can... Even today, it is genuinely slightly difficult to understand and to believe that Star Wars has now become a financial liability. I mean, just being able to slap Star Wars on something in the past was pretty much a guarantor for instant success, even if you hammered it on pinball or whatever else. Yet now, people see Star Wars and they immediately get suspicious. It actually damages your brand by making it in a Star Wars setting, no matter how promising the idea might be. And hey, the idea of a more like rogue-esque, scoundrel-esque style Star Wars game, open world, was absolutely appealing. Being able to run around the world of Star Wars in a theme parky way, doing whatever the hell you want, being some kind of kick-ass Han Solo style character, sounds great. But it's 2024, isn't it? And sounding great really does not matter anymore. And what is worst, of course, is that this is happening to such a progressive and diverse company. Ubisoft is, well, it is being mismanaged, claim shareholders, and shareholders are hostage. Investor demands video game company go private after stock drop. How could this have happened? Again, it's such a diverse company. It is clearly doing everything it can possibly do in its power to make sure that it's reaching the widest conceivable audience. I mean, just look at this, their mentorship program, for example, where they are building an inclusive entertainment industry that reflects the diversity of our players. They're hiring all the right people, right? Now, this program is only open to those who identify as a woman or a non-binary individual. But hey, details, eh? That's the modern audience in a nutshell right there, right? But much like Disney, they've been looking to the horizon for aforementioned diverse audience to come and ride to their rescue now for, well, the last 5 years, and that really is a beautifully demonstrative graph, isn't it? And hey, let's look at it on the other side. Okay, so what's Ubisoft got in the future, right? Because right now, there is a civil war going on within Ubisoft. People want to bring the company private so that they can take some serious grips, change out management, change out development teams, change out designers, and get back to actually making games that people want to purchase. Something which someone had forgotten about. Well, they do have a couple of good ones. Anno 1117, I guess. Pax Romana. I mean, the Anno series, Anno 1800 is, unironically, the single best city builder I've ever played. Like, it might be one of, if not, again, the best city builder ever, okay? It is an amazing city builder. It is incredible. And with all of the DLC, it must have done very financially well. And so this one, well, it's Anno. It's Anno 1800, the sequel to that fantastic game, and it's set in Rome. Holy shit. I mean, this should be, by all accounts, a license to print money. Toss in some interesting characters like you did in Anno, maybe a hot waifu, for example, and just roll in that Roman aesthetic, and this should be an amazing hit. However, this is, of course, developed by Byte, and Byte has had a very hit and miss history for a while now. So if we look down here, the New Settlers, New Allies, that's a game that has a bit of a twinge to it, shall we say. Did not do very well at all. Anno 1800, of course, was amazing and did quite well. Skull and Bones did unbelievably poorly, particularly as it's also been in development for, oh Jesus, like absolute ages. Like, I heard about this one, I think like World of Warships was entering beta phase or something. It is ancient. They must have poured probably millions into this game at the very least. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, another game that you would have thought would be set to print money, did very, very poorly. Even though it was apparently an okay-ish game, but, well, one of the weird things about Avatar is that despite all of the popularity of the series, of the movies, it has had next to no actual cultural impact. People know about the movies, they might go watch the movies, but they have virtually zero interest in the paraphernalia surrounding it. Assassin's Creed Nexus, I have no idea what that is, and of course Rainbow Six Siege and Far Cry 6. So, the Settlers Online as well. I have no idea how good that's doing, but the point is, Blue Byte seems to miss just about as often as they hit, and with a new Anno game, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Like, Anno 1800 already had a certain whiff of the woke about it. Like when you arrived in the new world and the savages there were like, oh, you've got an ironclad warship, do you? Ha! Pathetic. Let's teach you about tortillas and electricity, apparently, which can only be created in the new world. Or the fact that scholars can only be recruited from Africa. It's like, it's the kind of things you look at and you're like, I've seen this before, but the game was such quality that you kind of just like, okay, well, yeah, let's go with it, right? But I don't know if that will fly now, particularly after, failures like Concord and the fact that the cultural opposition to the progressives has got a bit of blood on the fangs now. And what else have they got? Well, Beyond Good and Evil 2, that's a game that's practically certain to sell like hotcakes. If it ever comes out, as we still know diddly dick nothing about it, as we really about Anno, we don't know much about that either. They're making a Prince of Persia The Sand of Time remake, which, again, I find rather amusing. So at least somebody at Ubisoft is paying attention, I do suppose. But far more importantly, what is Ubisoft's next big game? What's their next big cash cow that's going to come out and really, fix that not too good stock price? Oh, I know. Assassin's Creed Shadows. See, here's the thing. If a Star Wars game, which by all accounts wasn't that terrible of a video game, it just wasn't really much of a Star Wars game either, can do, well, this to your stock prices? Oh boy. Now, they've kind of done the correct thing with Assassin's Creed Shadows here, in that Ubisoft has largely shut the fuck up about it recently, as every time they've opened their mouth about this game, even just to do basic marketing, it's bitten them in the ass with a ferocity that is rarely seen in video games, as it became a bit of a lightning rod for, well, again, the cultural sides, that is beginning to realize that it has a lot of cultural power that it can wield around now, and like a child with a brand new fancy toy, it is going to do just that. Assassin's Creed Shadow is probably going to be the next target for it. This game will need a miracle to be particularly successful, or more correctly, it will require a lack of attention, basically. It's going to need to come out and kind of just fly under the radar, allowing the people who are already going to buy it to pick it up, give it good reviews, and give it a generalized thumbs up, before anyone can really begin to wonder what's exactly going on about it. And it needs to be a good game to boot, mind you. If that were to happen, it still has a decent chance of continuing the Assassin's Creed franchise. But, again, I'm not so sure that's going to be possible. I'm pretty sure that the RSK is going to be a target here, regardless of what happens and regardless of the quality of the game, for very obvious and very clear reasons, as, amusingly enough, if Assassin's Creed was ever going to do a game in Japan, Yasuke was pretty much unavoidable, and whilst it might have been either a decision that would have just been shrugged at, like 2 or 3 years ago, or even applauded by the progressives, it's coming out at the exact wrong time. But all of the cultural credit of progressivism has already been spent and is at its absolute lowest ebb. And here comes a game who is front and center with its black samurai protagonist beating the shit out of the Japanese people. Considering the current meme culture as well, this is an extraordinarily bad idea. And he's gay, just to, hammer home the point one extra little step, or at least open to gay romances. If there is a situation in which Ubisoft could absolutely be sunk by one significant stinker, it is right about now. And Assassin's Creed Shadows seems teed up to be just that stinker. I would not at all be surprised if Ubisoft again might go away at the very least as the entity that we know right now, being taken off the market, significantly retooled, refocused, and maybe it would re-emerge later down the road as a very different kind of company. And that would probably be the right move to make as well, particularly again considering the cultural situation we're in. If Ubisoft were to re-emerge down the line with, video games that might actually appeal to an audience, I am absolutely certain that they would be welcomed back once they've learned their lesson. Whether or not that actually sinks in, well, that depends. Sony certainly cauterized the wound with Concord lickety-split, so there is evidence that the gaming industry is beginning to recognize what they're doing wrong here. But Ubisoft and Sony, not necessarily one-to-one comparisons, shall we say. Still, if Ubisoft becomes a phoenix or a lamb to the slaughter, matters relatively little to me, in all due honesty, as I'm pretty sure that the only company I actually care about, Byte, will probably survive the implosion regardless. Do let me know what you think in the comment section down below, though, as I'm interested in hearing what people think the likely future of Ubisoft is going to be, and whether or not you want to actually see them continue to make the same video game over and over and over again. Which is why I actually prefer Anno. Still, until next time, I've been Arch. Thank you all very much for watching, and I hope to see you all again soon. Have a good day.